10 juveniles sentenced to life. 1 and 2. Brian Lee Draper and Tori Michael Adamczyk. Draper and Adamczyk were both 16. In 2006, they planned a horrific crime and carried it out. The boys murdered their classmate, 17-year-old Cassie Jo Stoddart. Stoddart was house-sitting for her aunt and uncle. She was alone when they crept in and stabbed her to death. They'd recorded their plan on videotape. The boys claimed to have been inspired by the Columbine massacre. Both are serving life sentences. 3. Josh Phillips. In November 1998, Josh was 14 years old. He was home alone. His 8-year-old neighbor Maddie Clifton came by to play baseball. While they were playing, Josh accidentally hit Maddie with his bat. She started crying, and Josh panicked. He hit her with the bat again to stop her crying. Then he stuffed her under his bed in the house. Some time later, Josh discovered Maddie was still alive. He cut her throat and stabbed her in the chest. Phillips was sentenced to life imprisonment. 4. Kenneth Young. Young is an exception in many ways. First of all, his crime was not violent. In 2001, Young was convicted of participating in 3 armed robberies. He had committed them in 2000 when he was just 14. Young was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences. In 2010, the Supreme Court made a ruling, known as Children Are Different. Life sentences for minors are unconstitutional, except for murders. Young was finally released in 2021. 5. Lionel Tate. In 1999, 12-year-old Lionel was alone with Tiffany Unick. Tiffany was 6 and was being babysat by Lionel's mother. She left the kids playing downstairs. Then Tate came up and said Unick wasn't breathing. Tate claimed he'd accidentally hit her head on the table. In fact, he'd beaten Unick until she died. In 2001, 13-year-old Lionel Tate was sentenced to life without parole. He's the youngest American to ever receive that sentence. It was overturned in 2004, and Tate was released on probation. A year later, he was arrested for armed robbery. He's currently serving concurrent 30 and 10-year sentences. 6 and 7. Evan Miller and Colby Smith. In 2003, Miller was 14. His friend Colby Smith was 16. The teens planned to rob a neighbor in a trailer park. 52-year-old Cole Cannon was apparently drunk. The teens beat him with a baseball bat. In his trailer, Miller wrapped Cannon's head in a sheet, saying,
"I am God. I've come to take your life."
They stole his wallet and some baseball cards. Then they set fire to the trailer. Cannon died of smoke inhalation. Smith was sentenced to life with parole after pleading guilty. Miller pleaded not guilty and showed no remorse. He was sentenced to life without parole. Smith is eligible for parole in 2025. Currently, both Miller and Smith are incarcerated. 8, 9, 10. Derek Shields, Travis Booker, and Control Jackson. In 1999, 14-year-old Shields and his 2 cousins held up a video store. Jackson was 14. Booker was 15. Shields threatened the clerk with a shotgun. The teens demanded money, but she refused. When she said she was calling the police, Shields shot her in the face. The teens fled without taking any money. All 3 were sentenced to life without parole. The Supreme Court later outlawed mandatory life sentences for juveniles. Shields, Booker, and Jackson were released.